Tales from Mortimer Poe. Mortimer Poe, the half-dead raven, is a distant cousin to Hunin and Munin, the ravens that bring tales of the world to Odin. But Mortimer, born outside the window of Edgar Allan Poe, only brings tales of worlds that aren't real to the ears of those who want to explore alternate realms of possibility. Today, Mortimer brings you the tale of Free Birthday Coffee.
I stepped up to the counter, entirely too chipper for having been up all night. Tall caramel macchiato. Can I get this as my free birthday coffee? I said as I handed the barista my rewards card. Your birthday's on a Monday? That's a bummer. Oh, sorry, our computer's down. I can't run your rewards card right now. The barista handed my card back. As I took it, my early morning cheer dimmed. I can show you my license. It really is my birthday. I snapped open my wallet again. Sorry, but I need the computer to ring it up for me. I couldn't stop a deep sigh from escaping. Are you sure? I've been looking forward to it all night. I had been up thinking about this coffee. Way too late. A voice from behind the espresso machine called, "Just give it to her. It's her birthday." The barista smiled. Happy birthday. I grinned as I put my rewards card back in my wallet. I moved down the counter to let the bleary-eyed customer behind me order while I waited for my drink. The steamer hissed, and I breathed in the luxurious scent of roasted coffee until I claimed my tall caramel macchiato. They'd even drawn me a little smiley face. As I left, I raised the paper cup in a toast to the overworked manager. I walked along the pre-dawn street, my obscenely large free coffee in hand. How much caffeine was too much for the day? Doesn't matter today. In my rush to taste my free birthday brew, I tilted the cup a little too high. Hot coffee rushed over my tongue. I pulled the cup away and raised it again more cautiously. I didn't need to rush through this one. There'd be plenty of coffee today. I got to the lab and set up the first experiment in total silence. The rest of my team was on vacation. Together. I'd been out sick just one day, so they all submitted their vacation requests and got them approved before I came in the next morning. Since at least one of us has to be in the lab every day, they'd made sure I couldn't go with them. I couldn't even call in sick on my birthday. I took another cautious sip of the macchiato. The sugar rushed over my tongue, followed by the bitter bite of espresso. I opened a radio app on my phone and let it play in the background. No earbuds, before I started measuring out chemicals. I counted down the minutes on the old analog clock on the wall until my 10 a.m. break. I wasn't paying all that much attention, just getting the stuff ready. I was pouring chemicals into beakers when I heard the local news mention my favorite coffee chain. Suffered a cyber attack early this morning on their point-of-sale computer system. I laughed and felt something sloshed over the rim of the beaker in my hand. I quickly set the concoction down on the table to inspect my skin, but I didn't see anything had touched it. I went and washed my hands anyway, slopping water all over the place. I looked around the empty room. At least no one was around to write me up. I kept glancing at the clock. 9:58, 9:59. As soon as the second hand touched the 12, I slipped out of my lab coat. When I hung it on a peg near the door, I spotted a hole on the wrist. Great. Now I damaged my lab coat. But how? None of the chemicals I worked with today were caustic. I ran my thumb over it. I couldn't feel the hole, no rough edges. The fabric felt like it was still intact. I lifted the cuff to inspect it. I could see right through the tiny spot to the wall behind, but as I scratched it with a nail, I couldn't find where the fabric had separated. But I was on my break. Time for coffee. I made a mental note to log that in my notes. I checked my wallet to be sure I still had cash, gathered my purse, and walked to a different branch of my favorite coffee shop. The door chimed as I entered. I stepped up behind someone ordering tea. Ugh, why would anyone come to a place that had caramel macchiatos and order tea? Behind me, the door chimed again, 3 times in quick succession. Suited business people got in line behind me, talking loudly in jargon so obscure it sounded like a foreign language. I tried to tune them out. It's time for my coffee. Tall caramel macchiato, and today is my birthday. Can I get this as my free birthday drink? Yeah, sure, the chipper barista said. I swiped my rewards card. Ah, the barista turned away, shouting, It's not reading the rewards card. Computer's down, remember? A voice called from around the corner. She's got a free birthday coffee, she says, the barista bellowed. I cringed as I felt the line of coffee seekers shift behind me, grumbling about the wait. I opened my mouth to say, never mind, but closed it again. I wasn't going to waste the opportunity just to be polite. I stood still, trying to be invisible, as the barista screamed something across the room about logins. The manager came up to the register. No, the whole system is down since this morning. I thought it would be back up by now. Here, the manager handed the barista a pen and a pad of paper. Just write down that we gave a free one. We'll settle it up later with corporate. The barista set the notepad on the counter, then rotated the pen as if she wasn't quite sure how to operate it. Finally, she put the tip on the paper and asked, What did you want again? Tall caramel macchiato. Thanks. My coffee came up, and I sipped it as I squeezed past the long line on my way out the door. Creamy coffee goodness coated my tongue. The intense flavor was magnified into a religious experience by the word free. No cute messages on my cup this time, though I could see where they'd scribbled over a box on the side to mark my order. The caffeine hit propelled my steps into a jog. I got back to my office, out of breath, but full of energy. I bounced into my lab. I slipped the lab coat back on, picking at the cuff where the hole seemed to have gotten larger. I could see the line where my shirt cut across my wrist through the hole. I still couldn't feel the hole, but was the cuff a little damp? My heart suddenly raced with caffeine and the thrill of discovery. I took a pen out of my pocket and poked the fabric. It didn't go through. I drew a line across the hole, and a thin layer of ink seemed to just float there, above my wrist. Hot damn, I shouted. My voice echoed off the hard walls, since there wasn't anyone there to hear my eureka moment. All on vacation, even the manager. Didn't matter. They'd all be pissed when they got back from their little trip to see I'd made a breakthrough. The breakthrough. I laughed out loud in the empty lab. They'd see. Or maybe they wouldn't. I swigged the last of my slightly cooled coffee. No one knew yet. I wasn't even running an experiment, just measuring out the chemicals. I twisted the edge of my lab coat between my thumb and forefinger. Non-disclosure, non-compete, I recited to myself. Ethical standards. My caramel macchiato breath teased my nose. That wasn't ethical either, but I'd gotten away with it. What the hell? I scribbled a quick note, gathered my things, and left the lab for a third coffee shop, not bothering to change out of my lab coat. Maybe I could have an early lunch. The coffee shop had sandwiches and stuff. To hell with my team and their group vacation. To hell with the time clock on the wall. It was my birthday. I was going to get free birthday coffee. I was going to be free.
Mortimer's story, Free Birthday Coffee, was written by Erica Kaler, and Mortimer's narrator for this tale was Jenny Marlette. Sound effects were sourced from freesoundlibrary.com.